So, quick little thing before Darius Garland. Number one, the RJ Barrett video got a copyright claim, so I'm not going to do any more scouting videos with real footage. I wish that wasn't the case because I think it makes for a better vid, but I can't be getting copyright claims left and right. Number two, I'm going to be doing a weekly NBA podcast with the YouTuber Sporting Logically. I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the top comment of this video. There's a decent chance you already watch him if you watch me. And the best place to find the podcast is going to be our Twitters. So the link for my Twitter is always there. I recommend you follow him on Twitter. Of course, it'll also end up on like all the various podcasting sites out there. But yeah. Anyway, let's get on to Darius Garland. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of Garland because he missed most of the season at Vanderbilt. But even so, there are things about Garland that can be really exciting, especially in today's NBA where we love score-first point guards and guys who can shoot threes off the dribble, and if you go under the screen, they can shoot it from like 25 feet or whatever. And Garland has a lot of that stuff to him, right? If he ends up hitting his ceiling and just really maximizing all of the things that he can do, we could be seeing another Damian Lillard type of player where he's just such a threat, moving off the ball, having the ball in his hands as well, just the constant threat of a pull-up three, and as a result, you have to step up on him a little bit more, and that allows him to just slither into the defense, and then he can take a pull-up shot, or he can shoot a floater or whatever. So there's a chance that he could average a lot of points in the NBA. And while his playmaking is not the main thing for him, I think that's fine because, again, with where we are in today's NBA, it might be better to have that shoot-first point guard who's going to average, at best, 5 to 6 assists a game, as opposed to, like, Ja Morant. Now, I think even so, Ja does project to be better than Garland because between Garland's injury, the fact that he's pretty slim, I mean, Ja is as well, but Garland is even smaller than Ja is. So, yeah, there's definitely risks involved with the guy, but the upside is definitely there offensively. Now, other things to talk about with Garland before we start talking about teams that could select him and all that. Because of that size, teams can target him defensively. You hope that you can just put him on the worst offensive player on the opposing team, and that could be enough. Maybe not. It'll depend on the team, of course. He also does sometimes have just a bit of a recklessness to him in terms of offense and defense. Like sometimes defensively he goes for steals too much or plays out of passing lanes a little too much. So he's got to learn to be a little bit more disciplined there. But also, the dude likes to be flashy, and sometimes that's awesome, but sometimes that can lead to a turnover or taking a shot that isn't the best, things like that. So he's going to have to calm down on those things as well. And then, of course, there was that torn meniscus again, which, that's something we should care about. So, yeah, but even so, the offensive stuff, I think, makes Garland a pretty attractive prospect. So anyway, as far as his fit with potential teams, I guess just start with number 4 and go down. Of course, the caveat always with the Lakers is if they end up keeping their pick and all that stuff. I mean, I think I said this when I talked about the Lakers pick. I think the fit with Garland in LA actually kind of makes a lot of sense because they have enough big bodies to hide him defensively between Lonzo, Ingram, Hart, Kuzma, LeBron. And, some of those guys are awesome defensively and some are good when they want to be. But I do still think there's enough there, especially now with Frank Vogel as the head coach. You'd think he'll know how to hide Garland defensively. And then on offense, Garland gives the Lakers exactly what they need, which is a guy who can make shots, which they are in desperate need of to just get that floor spacing and all that. So I think that definitely works. We could see him off the ball a little more often. We definitely would see him off the ball more often with the Lakers. But I think that could be good for him. The fear would be if he just doesn't know how to do that. I think the things he's good at would be enough for him to be a good off-ball player. But does he want to do that? That's a different thing entirely. And You hope that he just doesn't have that Dion Waiters-ness where he's like, yeah, I know LeBron's on my team, but I still want to do stuff myself. Because, LeBron and Lonzo could do a lot for him, and Ingram as well, I think. So, that's the Lakers for you. The Cavs, I mean, Sexton and Garland would be a pretty small backcourt. So, maybe that would just write it off immediately. But in terms of most offensive punch, which is something maybe the Cavs should really care about, I think it's safe to say Garland has more of that than Culver or DeAndre Hunter or, well, definitely those two. And you can make arguments against Kobe White, Cam Reddish, and all that. So that would be an interesting one. If I was Cleveland, I probably wouldn't do it because the size of the backcourt would freak me out too much, though, if I'm being honest. Phoenix at number 6. I mean, if you wanted to just be an offensive powerhouse, well, at least have the potential for it between Ayton and all the things he can do and Booker and then Garland at point guard, that would definitely allow you to do it. But, there's reason to believe, you put Devin Booker at point guard or you just sign a veteran point guard because this team has enough young dudes at this point. They do have a lot of wings, of course, so that could make sense for them to go with a guard. But at the same time, they do still need a 4, or maybe not necessarily a 4, but they need a forward who doesn't care about scoring. And Garland is certainly not that. But the Suns need a lot of things. So if you think they need a point guard more so than they need another wing, I'm not going to dispute you too hard on that one. So yeah, is there a chance Garland falls all the way to like Chicago or Atlanta? I mean, maybe if teams really like these wing players, or if somebody likes Kobe White more than Garland, maybe they're kind of scared of Garland's injury or something else, I guess. Maybe somebody gambles on Cam Reddish. I've heard some things about the Hawks wanting Reddish. So, let's say maybe Garland falls a little bit farther. Could he go to the Bulls at 7? I think I already talked about the Bulls' potential of drafting a point guard, but there I mainly talked about Kobe White. Garland is certainly better on offense than Chris Dunn. It would give them a lot of shooting there. Could give Dunn the potential of playing off the ball, which I think he could thrive in, to be honest. Yeah, I can definitely see a world where that makes sense. If we go to the Hawks, whether it's number 8 or number 10, I mean, you already got Trae Young there. I'm already scared of a small backcourt with Garland and Sexton, and you already got Herter. I don't know if Atlanta would really make sense for Garland. What about the Wizards at number 9? I mean, they're probably going to need a point, and John Wall's going to be out for however long, and you think Garland and Beal can be a really great shooting backcourt at least. And then after that, the Wizards would, I guess, re-sign Thomas Bryant and Bobby Portis, and that's kind of your team. And maybe in the Eastern Conference, assuming that Bradley Beal keeps on being like a borderline all-NBA guy, that could get you into the postseason. I don't think it makes you one of the top 5 seeds or anything, but you can certainly put out a respectable product. But the Wizards are also weird because they could just end up trading Beal in like 4 months, so all that's that. Now, do I think he could fall to the T-Wolves at number 11, Garland? I don't know, maybe. I guess we can entertain the idea. Him and Towns together could certainly be pretty wild. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Derrick Rose. I mean, he certainly had a good enough season to suggest they should. I guess it would just depend on what he was asking for, because they're already at the salary cap, and that's before doing anything. So that one's a little iffy. Also, I don't know if they need a point guard as much as they need like another wing besides Covington who can really be good as like a two-way player. And I think the idea of Brandon Clark and Towns together is actually pretty interesting, if you ask me. And then at that point, we're getting to the Hornets, and I don't know. At that point, if you think Garland's the best player, just select him, whatever. So yeah. I don't know. Garland, he's a bit of a wild card to me. Is he to the level of like Michael Porter Jr. from a year ago? Maybe, the confident offensive player who is dealing with an injury. I guess that could be grounds for him falling a little bit. So, yeah. Anyway, once again, the weekly podcast with Sporting Logically. Links down there if you want to find that pod. And that's it.